Alright, hello world, welcome back to JavaScript. So we didn't touch JavaScript for a long time now, as we just stuck for like in April, I believe. We started talking about Python, and after 2 months, now what we're going to do is we're going to revisit JavaScript. So our goal for these 5 videos or so will be focused on some advanced /ES6 feature. We'll talk about array, fetch, and more. And especially the modular that JavaScript now support, and probably even briefly talk about TypeScript. And then we can prepare us to go to talk about a framework or a library called React. All right, so let's go ahead and get started with today's slides. I didn't usually do these Google slides, but if you want to, the link is here, and I will link the slide into the description below. And the code will be available on GitHub, also linked down in the description below. Alright, so we're going to talk about advanced array methods. So array, recall, is just a way to store a bunch of value. But before we actually talk about array, okay. Alright, sorry about that. Before we actually talk about array, we will talk about this, arrow functions. So arrow function is really a simplified way to write a function. So as you can see, I grabbed this from W3 School. So you can see the old way to define a function, you can see it's like a variable-ish syntax. So it's like function, parenthesis, curly bracket, return hello world. But now with arrow function, what you can do is you don't have to type function at all. You just need to type equal sign and then parenthesis. Parenthesis is for the parameter. So if you have some value that you want the function to be able to use, that's where you will put it in. And the good thing is, if you only have one parameter, you don't need parenthesis at all. Then equal arrow, that's where it's get the name from, arrow function, and then curly braces, and then return hello world. So this is really a simplified way to write a JavaScript function. This is what we're going to use for future JavaScript function, especially when we're dealing with React. Alright, now let's go ahead and talk about array. So the first array syntax array method, we talk about is a for each method. So the official documentation said the for each method execute a provided function once for each array element. It iterates through an element, execute a callback function. It will return undefined if you try to console.log that out. And then for each one time can take in up to 3 parameter value, index, and array for the entire array. Alright, so let's take a look of what does for each look like in an array. Alright, so now I got my VS Code set up, and then I'm just going to create let's just say array.js. And then, so to create a simple for each array, what we can do, so let me go ahead and define an array really quick. So we can say const array 1. Alright, this is just a variable name we're going to use. And then let's go ahead and name it. Let's just name something with it. Put some value in, so we can say apple. Let's just call this fruits to make it make sense. So apple, banana, orange, and strawberry. Alright, so this is fruit. So we create a fruits array with 4 elements: apple, banana, orange, and strawberry. So how to actually print fruits out? Well, in the old way, what we can do is for let I equals 0, I less than fruits.length, I plus plus, and then here we can say console.log fruits bracket I, right? This is how we're going to execute. How can we print out console.log, print out in our JavaScript console of every element in that fruits array. And then there is actually a way to execute JavaScript in runtime environment, which you can install Node. If you don't know that, you can install Node. We'll use it eventually anyway, so it's good to get installed. You can go nodejs.org to install Node. But once installed, we can run node array.js. Now you can see it prints out these 4 elements: apple, banana, orange, strawberry. This is not really good. I mean, it's fine. It's good. I mean, it's better than you just hard coded. Okay. So by the way, I'm learning some shortcut to comments. All right. So this is a way to do it. Another way to do it is actually using for loop as well. So I'll talk about these in a loop with JavaScript. I have them in my tutorial if you want to check it out. So we can say let I of fruits, I believe. And then console.log I. Let's see what this brings to us. Now you can see this will also going to bring us the same element. So this is a for of array, which means that it's going to take in so it's like in Python, just like basic Python. So for I in fruits, but you can see we define a variable first, and this variable, instead of storing index number in here, it's going to store the actual elements. And then where is the element? Well, in here, fruits is array with strings. This must be an iterable element, which means you cannot put objects here. To use object, you can use for let I in objects. And then now you can see console.log I will print out the print out every element. All right, so this is 2 ways, but finally let's go talk about the for each method. So what will for each do is it will be able to do something like this. So we can say fruits.for each, and then in here it takes in a callback element, callback function. Since we're using arrow doing so callback function, so we can say element is a parameter, so it's like the current element, and then we're just going to console.log elements out. Let's go and take a look at that. And now you can see apple, banana, orange, and strawberry console.log as well. So this is the 3 ways to do it. As you can see, this is more like a traditional way. This is like more updated traditional way, and this is like brand new way. So we use for each. This is what for each mean. Iterate through an element, and then you can take it as an element. So and then you can console.log the element, or you can do more complicated process with it. All right. So this is for each, and then a little trivia about for each is it actually can take in 3 parameters: the current value, the current index, and the entire array if you want to use it. So we only use the first element, which is first parameter, which is the element. We only keep our current element. All right, now let's go ahead and talk about another advanced array, array method. Let me get this load. All right. So now what we're going to talk about is map. So the map method is going to create a new array based on the provided function on elements in the calling array. So this is again the official documentation. So what we can interpret it as is the map method will create a new array by iterating through an array, which is similar to for each, and then run a callback function for every element, and then add the result to the new array. It will return a new array which the length will always be the same as the original array. Alright, so let's take a look at map in Let's take a look how will map operate with JavaScript array. Alright, so we're still going to use our fruits array, but now instead of just saying apple, banana, orange, and strawberry, I want to apply a price to it. I want to add a price. So what will be the price? Well, actually, let's keep it simple. So let me create another array. Let's just say const numbers. And then here we'll store some numbers. So let's say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, for example. So we got a bunch of numbers there. And then let me make the terminal a little bit smaller. Alright, so now what we can do is we're going to use the map method. And then what I want to do instead is I want to multiply them by themselves. So instead of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, I want to get 1, 4, 9, 16, and 25. How can I do that? Well, using traditional way, what we can do is we can write a loop, we can create a new array, and then we can append the elements to a new array if we want to do that. But we can use map to simplify what are we doing. So now let's go ahead and use the map method. So we can say numbers dot. Actually, this is going to have a return value, so it's going to return result out. So we can say let's go and create another const. We're going to call this mapped numbers. And then here we're just going to say, let me move this down really quick. And then in here what we can say is numbers dot map. And then here is taking a callback function. So callback function is basically what we'll execute in this function. Either synchronously or asynchronously. We'll talk about what this term means in later tutorials. And then now so it will give a current, it's going to give a parameter, so it's going to give a current value. So I can say current, and then let's go ahead and use the arrow function. And then here what I want to create is just multiply itself, right? So I could say, to make it safety, I can just say current multiplied by current. This is all I want to do. And now let's go ahead and console.log mapped number. Let me go and run this. Alright, so now what we see is you can see now we got 5 elements. We got 1, 4, 9, 16, and 25, exactly what we want to do. So this is map. This takes the callback function and then iterates through an array. And then for each element, it's going to execute this callback function and then create a new array based on the output of this callback function. Alright, so this is map. Now let's move on to the next advanced array method. The reason we are learning these advanced array methods is they're going to become really useful when we talk about React. Alright, so now let's talk about filter. So the filter method will create a new array, which is similar to the map, and then with all elements that pass the test implemented by the provided function. So what's that mean? Well, similar to map method, it will create a new array by iterating through each element, through each element. Sorry for my bad grammar. But will only add elements to a new array if the given condition is true. So it will take in a Boolean. As you can imagine, it's going to take a Boolean expression. So let's take a look at this in real action there. So let me go ahead and comment this line, these 3 lines out. By the way, the shortcut for creating comments in any files is by pressing, for Mac, I'm not sure about Windows, is Command K, Command C to add line comment, and Command K, Command U to remove line comment. Alright, so now let's talk about filter. Alright, now let's see, we're gonna use, let's go and just create a new array. Let's just create a new array. Command K, Command C. Alright, now let's just create a new array. And then for this, I'm gonna use words. And this is gonna take in a lot of words. By the way, I want to briefly talk about the variable definition. So as of ES6, I believe they added const, let, and var. I forgot did I talk about these or not. I think I did. So var is just like variable that can modify every single time without any circumstance. But for let is you generally used in a loop as the incrementing variable. You cannot modify any time except in a loop or some circumstances. And for const variable, you cannot modify this at any time. Alright, so back to our talking about words. So we can just say, let's create some word. Let's just use Python, JavaScript. Let's say Ruby, HTML, one more language. Let's say, what will be a good language? C. Alright, so this is, let's name it to languages. Or more programming languages. And now what I want to do is I want to get the programming language that has the word length is greater than 6, greater than or equal to 6. So what I can do, or greater than equal to 6 is fine. So what I can do is when using filter, it will return an output of a new array. So we can use const. Let's say filtered languages, and then here I can say languages.filter, and then this is going to take a callback function, and then we can say the current word. Let's name it as current word. This is the current word, and then now we can say the arrow function there. And then we want to check is the length of the word, right? Word.length. Let's just say greater than or equal to 4, so we can allow more languages comes in. So I only want the new array contains the languages in languages array that has a length greater than 4. So I don't want to C. Besides C, anything is fine because Python is 6, length is 6. JavaScript is 10, Ruby 4, HTML4, only C is length is 1. So besides C, everyone else can pass it. Everyone else can pass this test. And now let's try to print out filtered languages. I don't know why I name it so long. And let's go ahead and run this. Whoops, it's current. I don't know why I name it to word. Let's run this again. And now, indeed, what you see is Python, JavaScript, Ruby, and HTML. You can see we don't have C. We can change the circumstance to, like, let's say less than or equal to 4. So what will happen is it will only get Ruby, HTML, and C. So this is like what you can do based on modify based on the current length. By the way, if you want to execute more than one statement in an arrow function, what you can do is you can add curly braces to so you can execute more than one statement. Alright, so this is filter. Now let's go and talk about another method. Alright, so now we can talk about sum. So what is sum? The sum method is testing whether at least one element in the array passes the test implemented by the provided function, and it will return a Boolean value. Alright, so this is again from the official documentation. Every documentation will link down in the description below, including the code, which is available on GitHub and this slides. If you want to do that, check it out. And then so what will happen is this will iterate through every element in an array, and it will return true if any element in the array matches the condition statement that we given, false otherwise. Alright, so what's that mean? Let's see how can we implement this in a real action. Alright. So let's say we got a let's see, what should we use this time? Let's say animals. How about that? So we're gonna say const animals, and then here what I will say is I will create some animals, so like chicken, zebra, rabbit, mouse, and spider. Alright, so what I want to do now is I want to check, is there at least one element that has the word length is greater than 5. At least one animal's name in this array is greater than 5. So what we can do now is we can run this command. So we're actually going to create an arrow function. So const, we can say let's say const check animal length. That's a really wordy function. You should name like that, but for our readability purpose, we'll just name like this. And then it would take one argument, current, for current animal. And then what will happen is we will check is the length greater than, did I say 5? Yeah, greater than 5. Alright. And then what we can do is console.log array.sum animals.sum checking animal length. Alright. So what's happening here? Well, now I create an arrow function. This arrow function said, you can see I didn't actually have return statements because the return actually really take care in this property or the method for array. So now you can see what it said is get the current element, which you'll loop through, and then get the current element. If the current element's length is greater than 5, then we'll just return true, otherwise return false. So you can imagine like this. So this checks, is there at least one element that matches this test? So what we should expect is we should expect to see true, because indeed there is at least one element that have a length greater than 5. In fact, we have 3 elements: chicken, rabbit, and spider. But if you say greater than 10, if I run that again, we got is false, because there's no such an element in this animals array that has a length that is greater than 10. Alright. So now we take a look on these. For my opinion, these are like pretty straightforward to understand. But now let's take one that is not easy to understand. In fact, I'm probably going to get a whiteboard there just in case we need it. So let me just get a whiteboard ready. All right. All right. So now we're going to talk about the final elements, or the final method rather, we're going to talk about in advanced JavaScript. Of course, it's much more. There's like 30 of them that you can do. You can check the official documentation. All right. Now what we'll talk about is reduce. So the reduce method executes a reducer function that you provide on each element of the array, resulting in a single output value. So this may seem a little bit complicated. So what that means is it will iterate through the array, apply the callback function. The accumulator will be the first element in the array initially, that will become the result of the output from the callback, which probably make you even more like don't understand what's happening. Well, luckily for you, I will get the so now I will go through some code. I'll go through some code. Hopefully you can understand better, and then I will go through the whiteboard as well. So I'm going to quickly write a function. I'm just going to call this const, let's say numbers again, and then this is going to have 1 for 9 16, and then we'll say const reducer equals to arrow function accumulator current, and then this will return let's just say plus them together later plus current. I know you're like, what the hell I'm writing right now? It will be easy to understand in just a little bit. And then we'll say numbers dot reducer. All right, so take a guess what happened. Well, I mean, I get, because the first time I see these demo, I'm like, I don't even know what's happening. But what you should see is 30. Let me do a quick calculation. Yes, it's 30. Why? Well, here's what's happening here. All right, let me get my whiteboard set up, and now I'm going to explain what's happening there. So we have an array, right? And then I'm just gonna write in blue, and then the array elements is 1, 4, 9, 16. As I'm writing in mouse, so apology if it's not clear. And now what happening to reduce function is initially this will be the accumulator for parameter. Remember, we had to define two. One is accumulator, and then one is the current value. And then this will be the accumulator, and I believe, okay, yeah, I'm actually a little bit messed up on here as well, but I think this should be the current value. So I think it skipped the, yeah, I think it's a current value. Let me just do a quick console.log check. Sorry about that, guys. I'm still a little bit confused with this as well. Current. All right, yes. So initially this will be the accumulator, and then this will be the current value. And now it will run the functions we provide, which we call just add the accumulator. So our function is add the accumulator, so A plus C. This is basically the function we're running. Really important. And then what's happening is it will execute this. So what is 1 plus 4? Well, 1 plus 4 is 5, right? So we got 5. And then now what's happening is it's going to give to the new accumulator value of 5. Alright? So next is what's happening is the current value is equal to 5. Right? So this is current value. And then the accumulator is 5. So same, what will happen is accumulator plus current value, 5 plus 9, which we got 14, and then this will assign to the accumulator. And then lastly, what will happen is it will add, so now accumulator is 14, excuse me, and now it's going to add the current value, which is 14 plus 16 is 30. So that's how it gets the value of 30. It goes through the stage like this. Sorry for making it messy, but I hope you can understand. Alright, so now if I take a look back to this code, probably you can understand better. So this console.log just show what's happening. So what's the current number? You can see we don't have to see 1 there. So initially the first element will always be accumulator, then current, and then it will go ahead and return a single output value accumulated based on your callback function like this. Alright, so I hope you have a basic understanding of some advanced JavaScript method out there. Of course, there is much more advanced method to there, advanced array method there, and there's a lot of array method you can check out on MDN with W3 schools. But this is some function that's probably going to be helpful when we're dealing with advanced JavaScript, and probably some coding challenge as well. Alright, so thank you for watching. If you do like this video, please make sure you like and subscribe this video if you want to. And stay healthy and have a nice day.